As we age, it can be difficult to stop from slowing down. That's why the Big Day Fitness team has made it their mission to help you move better, get stronger, and live bigger. It's time for the Big Day Fitness Show, with all the tips to get you ready to say yes to anything life has to offer. Here are your hosts, Bobby and Maria.
Welcome to the Big Day Fitness Show. I'm your host, Bobby Gazdia, alongside with my wife and co-host, Maria. And today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of our members and prospective members come in really wanting to know more about.
Members from Big Day Fitness in Norwell and Duxbury.
Big Day Fitness in Norwell and Duxbury. And a lot of them want to know more about nutrition. It's another one of those topics, just like fitness, that's really muddled, and there's advice coming from every single direction, and it makes it really overwhelming to take action. So we actually just did a nutrition call with most of the members at our gym yesterday, and we have some really good stuff for you. But before we get into like the actionable tips and what you should do, just wanted to share a quick story with you.
Sure.
Okay.
Surprise me.
Surprise you. So 4 years ago, Maria moved here 5 years ago.
From Spain.
From Spain. Took her a year to get involved in Big Day Fitness. But once she did, she was rocking and rolling, and she's always been a really fit and active person. But we ended the day, in the bedroom, finally shut off the lights and lying down next to each other, and she's really proud about how she ate this day in particular. Like, she really crossed her eyes and dotted her T's. You know what I mean. And she was really just, excited about how she ate that day. So I said, all right, so tell me, how did today go? What did you have for breakfast? And she's like, for breakfast, I had some eggs, I had some Ezekiel toast, I added a little bit more egg whites to get some more protein in, and some avocado. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. What next? And for lunch, she said she had tuna salad with some peppers, a little bit of hummus, and some water. She got some hydration in too. I'm like, all right, awesome. And finally for dinner, she was telling me about the salmon she had with the asparagus and the wild rice, and just perfect 10 out of 10 days. She felt great. So then I put on the, maybe you're familiar with this at home, the annoying husband voice. And I'm like, well, what about the couple handfuls of chips you had right before lunch? And you were like, okay, all right, I remember that. You're right.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, and also, didn't you take 2 Lindt chocolate balls out of the fridge after lunch? She's like, starting to squirm a little bit, getting kind of weird. Like, yeah, I did. And finally, I hit her with, this is the one that really, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, didn't you have a couple handfuls of cashews right before dinner too? And she's like, oh my God, you're right, I did. And the funny thing is, like I said,
it pissed me off for sure.
So Maria's a fit person. She's really organized and very aware. And even she didn't remember at the end of the day what exactly she ate. It's the same thing for me. Like, in the fitness business, I'm a former athlete. I'm very careful with what I eat. And still, at the end of the day, I'm not going to recall anything. And after working with adults for the past 10 years, we know that you guys are all the same too. It's very hard to remember exactly what you ate. So whenever somebody comes to us and asks us about nutrition, we don't just start going into giving them advice, because that's the easiest thing in the world to do. You should do this, you should do that. At the end of the day, it always starts with awareness. And most people don't have the capacity to go and start counting their macros, to go start downloading apps and weighing every single piece of food they eat, because we're busy, and most people honestly just don't care that much. I don't particularly love to do that stuff either. So what we recommend is, if you're having a tougher time figuring out your nutrition, start with a super basic food journal. And all that is throughout the day, you're going to write down everything you eat as you eat it, and you're just going to guesstimate. So for breakfast, maybe you had a banana with a little bit of peanut butter on it. You had coffee with a splash of milk. You had for breakfast some.
For
Or,
lunch.
I'm sorry, for lunch. Yep, you had some. You had a cheeseburger and some fries. Right. The idea isn't that you change your diet and you try to start doing everything perfectly. It's that you start to build some awareness onto it. Because as you do this, you're going to start to notice a few different things. First thing is, as we said, you become aware of what you're actually eating. You're not going to be at the end of the day anymore thinking, well, like, I think I did pretty good today. Because if you're trying to eat better and you're trying to you're trying to lose weight and you're not losing weight, but you think you're doing good, you're going to feel really frustrated and you're not going to know what you could be doing better to get to your goal. So it's going to build your awareness. The second really big thing, before I hand this over to you, Maria, because I know this is like right up your wheelhouse, you're really good at coaching the clients, is it's going to give you some space in between like stimulus and response. So stimulus being, my kid did something, really stressed me out, I'm going and reaching for a snack, and then response is you actually going and reaching for that snack. So it'll give you some space in between when you got annoyed and when you actually go and eat it. So you'll be able to say to yourself, do I really need to go eat this thing? Or like, if I do go to eat something, is this food actually going to serve me? Is it going to be potato chips with empty calories? Or is it going to be watermelon that has a lot of nutrients, it's lower in calories, and it fills me up, I enjoy it?
Yeah, exactly. And what you always say, what gets measured gets managed. So that's the reason why we always start the members with doing the 3-day journal. We don't even ask them to record whatever they eat and drink for 15 days. We only need 2 weekdays and 1 weekend day where they are as honest as possible with themselves, and then they can give that information, that paper to us, so we can actually see what is their starting point. And like you said before, there's no point of changing your diet just because your coach is gonna see what you ate last week. The whole point about this is that we know exactly what is reality for you, so then we can start taking little action steps towards the goal that you set for yourself. So it can be like recording or doing your food journal can either be on a notebook, it can be on your phone notes. You can even take pictures of your plates and save it in your gallery. So there's no right way to do it. It's just whatever works better for you, but always being honest with yourself.
Yeah, and I think going along that point, it's when we say diet, we're not talking about a diet where you just do it for a couple months and you want a result and then you're going to go back to eating the way you used to do. I think diet is more of it's a lifestyle thing. Whatever you're trying to work towards, you probably want to keep that result unless you're an athlete and doing, a competition, right? Most of us, you want to lose the weight and you want to keep it off. So whenever you're thinking about changing your diet, it shouldn't be that change should be something you're willing to do for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're going to hit this you're going to either get your goal or you're going to get to a certain period of time, like having done the diet for 2 months.
Yeah, you get burnt out.
And you get burnt out, and then you go right back to where you were, and now it's a cycle. And you're putting a lot of your own energy into doing this diet. That costs you something. So
And the confidence, because if you tried 3, 4, 5 diets in your life and you end up quitting all of them, or none of them end up working because they are not the right diet for you, then you start losing the confidence that you can actually be the person you want to be, that you can reach your goals. So for us, like you say, diet is not a keto diet or carnivore diet, something that you really need to follow strictly. It's more about balance, trying to prioritize protein. So there's 3 macronutrients. It's protein, it's carbs, and it's fats. So try to prioritize protein in every single meal, and then go around that.
So
Instead of following some structured diet.
Getting into the next thing we really wanted to tell you guys about, that's protein. So you guys probably always hear how important protein is. It keeps you alive. It builds your muscle. It helps you recover. It builds or increases your metabolism. So many awesome things with protein. And one of the reasons it's the best starting point for your diet is because, one, most people aren't eating enough of it. And two, it's a way to add something to your diet and make your diet better without having to take anything away. Because to your point, if you're doing a diet or you're changing your diet up and you're taking stuff out, that's like a lot of mental processing and willpower to say I usually eat cookies, once a night, or every Monday night after my dinner I have a couple cookies. Now to stop doing that, it's going to be pretty tough. But if you were to add protein in, usually what it does is it makes you more satiated, more full, so that you naturally stop wanting those things that you usually eat that might not be giving you the best return on your calories.
So getting into the actual benefits of protein. So you were mentioning before, it helps you build muscle, it helps improve the metabolism, it helps people with that are insulin resistant grab more of that insulin from their bloodstream to bring it into the muscle and turn it into energy. But the cool thing about protein is that it has a thermogenic effect, which means that if, for example, you're eating 100 calories of protein, your body is going to burn, let's say, 70 to or 20 to 30 calories just to digest that protein. So you're actually taking only 70 calories from that meal. While if you eat 100 calories of another carb, let's say goldfish, for example, crackers, your body is only going to burn few calories to digest that. So instead of your body taking 70 calories of protein with the goldfish, your body is taking, let's say, 90 to 95 calories of goldfish. So you want to always choose high protein foods because they are going to keep you full for a longer time, and your body burns more calories, more energy to digest those. And just to clarify this, energy and calories are the same.
And it kind of brings up the question, how much protein should we be eating? Right?
Yes,
we're always being
all the
told,
time.
eat more protein. Well, how much is enough? And that two answers. First answer is the guideline is 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein for every pound of desired body weight. If you want to be 150 pounds, that means 120 to 150 grams of protein is like the technical answer that a fitness person is going to give you, or a nutritionist. But if we go back to the beginning of this show and talking about the food journal, if you're eating 50 grams of protein a day, to jump up to 120, that might not be the most sustainable thing for you. That might be a pain in the butt
and
to try to add to your diet.
Very overwhelming, which means that you're not going to be able to maintain it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, our members have told us this before, they find trying to get their protein in really boring, right? Like when in your head, chicken breast is the only form of protein, you're going to have a bad time trying to hit all of your protein. So it's easier to start with, all right, I'm going to add a little bit more protein today. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that with a lot of different things. And once you've added that and you got comfortable with that and you figured out a way to do it sustainably, now you can add a little bit more next week or the week after. What do you find Maria's the recipe queen at Big Day Fitness. Every Friday, our members are getting emails with lots of great stuff, but the most popular thing is Maria's Friday recipes. Lots of meal prepping advice, lots of just awesome high protein dishes that are super tasty that you almost, it's hard to believe that they're even good for you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of recipes. We have been sending the recipes for the past 6 years, and I don't think I have repeated a single one. So, like you said, there's many different ways to get your protein in, and you should focus on getting a set amount for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, for example, boiled eggs or cottage cheese or fat-free yogurt, and then find your other protein sources like chicken, turkey, fish, things like that. Legumes have protein as well. And then just work around that. And like you said, when you find that incorporating extra protein for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner is sustainable for you, and then it becomes part of your routine, then you can start thinking of, how do I incorporate now more protein within my snacks if I get hungry between breakfast and lunch, for example? And you can make it fun. It doesn't always have to be A, B, and C. And it's all about how you cook stuff. You can use different spices. You can use different sauces. For example, Indian sauces or hot sauce. You can make your own dressings for the salads that are high in protein and low in fats. For example, grabbing some cottage cheese and half an avocado and blending that with some salt and some garlic. And there you go. You have a thick dressing that is similar to the mayo that you can put in your chicken salad, in your lettuce salad, and it's gonna feel you satiated and you're getting extra protein without even noticing because it's just the dressing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many awesome recipes, and then one of the easier things that some of our members do when they start and they don't feel they have the capacity to go and cook, go and meal prep, make dinner, is they just grab a protein shake and they'll take that right after their workout, and right there they just added 20 grams every day. They've started really small, and that small little jump is going to help them feel their muscles a little bit more full. They're going to feel a little bit more satiated. So it's kind of like flicking over a domino, where once you flick over the first domino, the other ones start to fall. You start to see this actually works. And now you want to add more protein. It's no longer, hey, Bobby and Maria, the coaches, said add more protein. It's, I see that this works, and I want to do this for myself.
Yeah, so you start, it's what you said, the domino effect. You start coming to the gym for the first time. You see that you feel better when you leave than when you come in. Then you start being super consistent with your workouts. Then you're putting so much effort in your workouts that you don't want to throw it out the window and then go home and eat a cheeseburger. So you're going to eat better. Then you start incorporating a little bit more protein, maybe just with that extra protein shake a day. And you start seeing that you are getting more muscle definition, toning up more, that you are able to lift heavier weights, that going upstairs and downstairs doesn't hurt your knees anymore. So it's just this cycle that when you start doing the right things for your body starts realizing that, and that's all it asks for. So you stop, when you fuel your body with the right things, you stop wanting the bad things for you, like the sugars and the alcohol and all these things.
No, I think that's a great point, because I've noticed that with myself, and I've heard so many clients say that starting with nutrition for them felt really hard, and that when they made the first step, exercise, everything started to click into place. You start to become a lot more aware of your body in the sense of, this food makes me feel this way. I'm thirsty. Like you do a workout and you're like, oh, I'm really thirsty right now.
Yeah.
How tough is it to remember to drink water for a lot of people?
It's tough, and then this is another great time where a protein shake can come in and save your day, because you mix the protein with water, so that's also hydration. And some of you are probably thinking, okay, there's a whole aisle in the groceries full of protein powders. Which one do I get? Well, we always try to tell our members, when you're eating processed foods, and there's good processed foods and non-good processed foods, when you are talking about the good ones, try to find products that have 5 to 6, 7 ingredients max in the label, and that you can actually pronounce those names. So when you're looking for a protein powder, try to find the one that has the least amount possible of ingredients, and that is the cleanest, because all of that is what you're taking to your body. So protein shakes are perfectly fine. They're good foods, but just make sure that you are getting a good brand.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that brings us to the processed foods, where we always are telling our members the basics. Food journal, eat more protein, don't eat processed foods. And there is a lot of extra stuff in these processed foods, preservatives. But that's the biggest thing is the fats. So we have the 3 macronutrients Maria told you about earlier. It's the protein, fats, carbohydrates. They don't all have the same amount of calories per their weight. So protein has 4 calories for every gram. Carbohydrates has 4 calories for every gram. And then fats has 9 calories for every gram.
That's more than double.
Yep. So if you think about it, just in your mind, think of what a tablespoon looks like, and then think of what a measuring cup looks like. If you put in a table, you fill up the tablespoon with olive oil, you're at 120 calories. Now grab your 1 cup, your measuring cup, and reach into a big bag of popped popcorn and scoop out a cup, put it in a bowl. Scoop out a cup, put it in another bowl. Do that 2 more times. You have 4 cups of scooped popcorn. That's going to be the same amount of calories as the 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
The good popcorn, not the one that is stuffed with butter. But yeah, if it's natural popcorn, just salt and a little bit of butter, yeah, you can eat 4 cups. So like stuff yourself with popcorn instead of just having a tablespoon of olive oil, which is super easy to put every time you're cooking or in your salad. It's just easy to overeat fats without even knowing.
Yeah, so it's not that fats aren't good for you. Like we all know the 90s, it was a very anti-fat movement and everything was low fat, and it's really good for your hormones, it's good for your energy, but we end up overdoing it and we get a lot of our calories from it. So by cutting out processed foods, you typically don't overeat fat, you don't overeat your calories. So that's a big thing. And it also puts into perspective, when you're trying to get more protein, there's different types of protein that you can eat. If you were to tell me 10 years ago that I needed to get more protein, I would have been trying to eat ribeyes.
Brisket, bacon.
Barbecue, baby.
Yep.
All of the fun
pork ribs, yeah.
The barbecue meats, and it'll help you get to your protein, but you're going to be eating so many calories as you do it, which is one of the reasons the Friday recipes have been so awesome, is because they've really taught our clients how to be able to eat high protein, but to do it without all of that extra fat, all of the extra oils. There's so many good spices and ways to prepare food that give you the good stuff without giving you all the extra stuff you don't really want.
Yeah, and I just want to say this, like how or when was the last time we went out for dinner and you got a steak and it was loaded with butter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, whenever you go out to a restaurant, you can assume they're just tossing fats on it because they taste amazing.
Right.
Like it's a cheat code.
So now if I think of our members, our market, right, which is people over 40, those are the people that usually go out more for dinner because they have the financial means, their kids are teenagers, getting older, maybe they are empty nesters, and now they are just going out with their friends and enjoying life as they should do. But at the same time, they are the ones that are exposing themselves more to foods from restaurants that not always are great for you. Just because the restaurant wants you to come back. They want you to taste their best foods, and how they get that is with extra fats. So next time you go to a restaurant, I am sure that if you ask the waitress or waiter to not to use that butter or extra olive oil in your steak, it's still gonna taste amazing, and you're gonna feel way better that same night or the night after, because heavy fats, like a heavy fat diet, is for sure gonna interfere on how you sleep, how you rest at night.
Yeah.
Everything is connected.
I think that's such a good tip too, because going out to restaurants, it can be really, it can feel challenging. Like you want to go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to feel like you're limited because you're trying to eat better. One of the cool things you can do, though, is just go through the menu online before you get there.
When you are not hungry.
Yeah, that'll definitely make it easier if you can do it a day ahead of time. But just scroll through everything and see what's like the trap option for you. What is the thing that if you didn't look through the menu, you would get there and you're going to sit down and you're going to order it. Like for me, it's the beef short rib gnocchi. Like for sure I would get that. Versus if I was to look through beforehand, I might find a good salad dish that I really like, and maybe the Stradler chicken, and it gives you some time to, we talked earlier about stimulus and response. You don't just see the thing on the menu and then order it. It gives you some time to look at the stuff and actually sit on it, reflect, think,
make the decision.
What would I really enjoy that would keep me feeling good later? Because you don't just deserve the best, like the richest meal on the menu. Like you deserve to wake up tomorrow and feel good, like to actually physically feel good. and to feel good about the choices you made.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we make these same mistakes as
How,
well.
how do we make this mistake?
Well, I go.
What's
we
the
go to a
number one
restaurant,
mistake we
and
make?
I'm the one. Okay. The number one mistake is that we always say we're gonna get an appetizer and an entree for both, because that's usually enough for us to be satiated. And then I see the gnocchi short rib on the menu, and I'm like, oh, should we get that? And then you're in the moment, you're excited, you're already out, and you say, why not? And then you start eating and eating and eating, and then it's so good that you don't want to stop. And it's like, and now it's not enough to bring it home either, so you just finish it because you're gonna pay for it, right? And then we leave the restaurant in the car, and we're both like, oh my god, I ate too much. I know that I'm gonna have a horrible night, and tomorrow I have to keep going with my life. So to avoid this, just listen to us and don't make our own mistakes.
I thought this was going to be the Dairy Queen confession, but it was more of
man, that's for another show.
Yeah, do as we say, not as we do. But thank you guys for tuning in again for another episode of the Big Day Fitness Show. If you have any questions, you'd like to turn in your food journals and would like somebody to review a second pair of eyes, we'd love to help you guys out. There's 3 ways you can contact us.
You can send us an email at hello@bigdayfit.com. You can check out our website at bigdayfit.com.
Or you can find us on Instagram at bigday_fitness.
That's it.
All right, talk to you guys soon.